Welcome to our video on the power of forgiveness and healing the wounds of the past. What if you could free yourself from the weight of past hurts? How would your life change if you could let go of old grudges and painful memories? These questions touch on a fundamental aspect of human experience, the challenge of dealing with past hurts and the potential for healing through forgiveness. Forgiveness is a topic that affects us all. We've all been hurt by others, and we've all caused hurt, whether intentionally or not. The pain from these experiences can linger, shaping our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways we might not even realize. But what if there was a way to release this pain and move forward with greater freedom and peace? That's what we're going to explore in this video. We'll dive deep into the concept of forgiveness, what it is, what it isn't, and how it can profoundly impact our lives. We'll look at the science behind forgiveness, the steps we can take to cultivate it, and the many benefits it can bring to our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. But before we get into all of that, let's start by considering the cost of not forgiving. What happens when we hold on to grudges and refuse to let go of past hurts? The truth is, the price can be steep. When we cling to resentment and anger, we're not just holding on to memories of past events, we're actively creating negative impacts in our present lives. Think about how it feels to hold a grudge. There's often a sense of heaviness, a tension that we carry with us. This emotional weight can affect our mood, making us more prone to stress, anxiety, and depression. It can color our perceptions, causing us to view the world and other people with suspicion and mistrust. Over time, this negative outlook can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, leading to more conflict and hurt in our relationships. The effects aren't just emotional either. Chronic anger and resentment can take a toll on our physical health. Research has shown links between unresolved grudges and various health issues, including high blood pressure, increased risk of heart disease, and weakened immune function. In essence, when we refuse to forgive, we're not just holding on to the past, we're actively harming our present and future well-being. But what exactly do we mean when we talk about forgiveness? It's a term that's often misunderstood, so let's take a moment to clarify what forgiveness is, and importantly, what it isn't. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean erasing the past or pretending that harmful actions didn't occur. Forgiveness isn't about excusing bad behavior or saying that what happened was okay. And it's not necessarily about reconciliation. You can forgive someone without resuming a relationship with them. So what is forgiveness? At its core, forgiveness is a personal choice to let go of negative emotions like anger, resentment, and the desire for revenge. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of past hurts. Forgiveness is ultimately a gift you give to yourself, not to the person who hurt you. This understanding of forgiveness is crucial because it shifts the focus from the other person to ourselves. We're not waiting for the other person to make amends or change their behavior. We're choosing to release ourselves from the grip of negative emotions, regardless of what the other person does or doesn't do. Now that we've clarified what forgiveness is, let's look at the science behind it. In recent years, researchers have been studying the effects of forgiveness on our brains and bodies, and the results are fascinating. When we forgive, our brains actually change. Studies using brain imaging have shown that the act of forgiveness can activate areas of the brain associated with empathy and understanding. This suggests that when we forgive, we're not just changing our thoughts, we're rewiring our brains in ways that can make us more compassionate and understanding in general. Forgiveness also has a significant impact on our stress levels. When we hold grudges, we're in a constant state of low-level stress. Our bodies are always slightly on alert, ready to defend against perceived threats. This chronic stress can wear us down over time. But when we forgive, we allow our bodies to relax. Our stress hormones decrease, our blood pressure lowers, and our immune system functions better. These physical benefits of forgiveness can translate into improved overall health. People who practice forgiveness tend to have lower rates of heart disease, experience less chronic pain, and even sleep better. It's a powerful reminder that our emotional state and our physical health are deeply interconnected. So how do we start practicing forgiveness? It's not always easy, especially when we've been deeply hurt, but there are steps we can take to move in that direction. The first step is to acknowledge the hurt. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, aren't we trying to let go of the pain? But we can't truly forgive until we've honestly faced what happened and how it affected us. This doesn't mean dwelling on the hurt or reliving it over and over. It simply means allowing ourselves to recognize and validate our feelings. Once we've acknowledged the hurt, we can make the choice to forgive. This is a decision we make for ourselves, not for the other person. We're choosing to let go of the negative emotions associated with the event, to stop allowing it to control our thoughts and feelings. The next step is to actively release the emotions. This might involve practices like meditation, where we observe our feelings without judgment and then let them go. It could involve writing a letter that we don't necessarily send, expressing our feelings, and then symbolically releasing them. The key is to find a method that works for us to consciously let go of the negative emotions. Another important aspect of forgiveness is practicing empathy. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does mean trying to understand the other person's perspective. What might have led them to act the way they did? What struggles or pain might they have been experiencing? This empathy can help us see the situation in a new light and make it easier to let go of our anger or resentment. Of course, forgiveness isn't always easy. There can be significant obstacles that make it challenging to forgive. One common obstacle is fear of vulnerability. When we've been hurt, it's natural to want to protect ourselves from future pain. Forgiveness can feel like we're opening ourselves up to being hurt again. But it's important to remember that forgiveness doesn't mean we have to trust the person again or put ourselves in a position to be hurt. We can forgive while still maintaining healthy boundaries. Another obstacle to forgiveness can be our own pride or ego. Sometimes, holding on to anger or resentment can make us feel strong or righteous. We might worry that forgiving means we're weak or that we're letting the other person win. But true strength lies in being able to let go of negative emotions and move forward, not in clinging to past hurts. There are also many misconceptions about forgiveness that can hold us back. We might think that forgiving means we're saying what happened was okay, or that we have to reconcile with the person who hurt us. But as we discussed earlier, that's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is about freeing ourselves, not about condoning harmful actions or necessarily restoring relationships. When we work through these obstacles and choose forgiveness, the effects can be far-reaching. Forgiveness doesn't just impact our relationship with the person who hurt us. It can have a ripple effect that touches many areas of our lives. As we practice forgiveness, we often find that our relationships in general improve. We become more patient, more understanding, and better able to navigate conflicts. We're less likely to take things personally or to hold on to small hurts. This can lead to deeper, more satisfying connections with others. Forgiveness also increases our capacity for empathy. As we practice understanding and letting go, we become better able to put ourselves in others' shoes. This increased empathy can make us more compassionate and understanding in all our interactions. On a broader scale, when we practice forgiveness, we contribute to creating a culture of understanding. Imagine a world where people were quicker to forgive and slower to hold grudges. How might that change our communities, our workplaces, even our global interactions? By choosing forgiveness in our own lives, we're taking a small but significant step toward creating that kind of world. It's important to note that forgiveness isn't just about big, dramatic events. It's something we can practice in small ways every day. Maybe it's forgiving the person who cut us off in traffic, or letting go of irritation at a co-worker's annoying habit. These small acts of forgiveness can add up over time, gradually reshaping our outlook and our responses to the world around us. One crucial aspect of forgiveness that's often overlooked is self-forgiveness. We're often our own harshest critics, holding on to guilt and shame over past mistakes or perceived failures. Learning to forgive ourselves can be just as important and sometimes even more challenging than forgiving others. Self-forgiveness involves acknowledging our mistakes, taking responsibility for our actions, and then choosing to let go of the negative emotions associated with them. It means treating ourselves with the same compassion and understanding that we would offer to a good friend. When we can forgive ourselves, we free up enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy that we can then direct toward positive growth and change. There's also an interesting connection between forgiveness and gratitude. As we practice letting go of negative emotions and cultivating understanding, we often find that we become more aware of the good things in our lives. This increased gratitude can, in turn, make it easier for us to forgive. It's a positive cycle that can greatly enhance our overall well-being. When we make forgiveness a regular part of our lives, the long-term benefits can be profound. One of the most significant is emotional freedom. When we're no longer bound by old grudges and resentments, we have more space for positive emotions. We're able to engage more fully in the present moment, rather than being constantly pulled back into past hurts. This emotional freedom often translates into better mental health. People who practice forgiveness tend to have lower rates of depression and anxiety. They report feeling more optimistic about the future and more satisfied with their lives overall. Forgiveness can be a powerful tool for managing stress and building resilience in the face of life's challenges. Forgiveness can also lead to stronger connections with others. When we're not carrying the weight of past hurts, we're able to be more open and vulnerable in our relationships. We're better able to trust and to form deep, meaningful connections. This can lead to a richer, more fulfilling social life and a greater sense of belonging and community. To help us on our forgiveness journey, there are various tools and techniques we can use. Meditation and mindfulness practices can be particularly helpful. These practices teach us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, which can make it easier to let go of negative emotions. They can also help us cultivate compassion, both for ourselves and for others. Journaling is another powerful tool for forgiveness. Writing about our feelings can help us process them more effectively. We might write about the event that hurt us, exploring our emotions around it. We could write a letter to the person who hurt us that we don't necessarily send, expressing our feelings and our decision to forgive. Or we might journal about our progress in letting go, noting the changes we observe in ourselves as we practice forgiveness. It's important to note that sometimes, especially when dealing with deep or complex hurts, we might need professional help to work through the forgiveness process. A therapist or counselor can provide valuable guidance and support as we navigate our emotions and work towards healing. There's no shame in seeking help. In fact, it's a sign of strength and commitment to our own well-being. Throughout history, there have been remarkable examples of forgiveness in the face of great harm. These stories can inspire us and show us the transformative power of forgiveness. From global figures who have forgiven their persecutors to everyday people who have chosen to let go of grudges, these stories remind us of the profound impact forgiveness can have. But we don't need to look to famous examples to find the power of forgiveness. Every day, in countless small ways, people choose to forgive. A child forgives a friend for a hurtful comment. A spouse forgives their partner for forgetting an important date. A worker forgives a colleague for taking credit for their idea. These everyday acts of forgiveness, while they might not make headlines, are the foundation of harmonious relationships and communities. Our exploration of forgiveness, let's recap the key points we've covered. We've seen that forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing harmful behavior, but about choosing to release ourselves from negative emotions. We've learned about the science behind forgiveness, including its effects on our brains and bodies. We've explored steps we can take to practice forgiveness, obstacles we might face, and tools we can use to help us on our journey. We've also seen the wide-ranging benefits of forgiveness, from improved mental and physical health to stronger relationships and a greater sense of emotional freedom. We've recognized that forgiveness is not just about big events, but something we can practice in small ways every day. So where do we go from here? The journey of forgiveness is ongoing, a practice we can cultivate throughout our lives. It's not always easy and it's not a one-time event, but with each step we take towards forgiveness, we move closer to a life of greater peace, freedom, and connection. As you leave this video, I encourage you to reflect on your own life. Are there hurts you've been holding on to? How might your life change if you could let them go? Consider taking a small step towards forgiveness today. It might be forgiving yourself for a past mistake, letting go of a minor grudge, or simply setting the intention to be more forgiving in your daily life. Remember, forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It's a choice you make for your own well-being, regardless of what others do or don't do. By choosing forgiveness, you're choosing freedom, healing, and a more positive future. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the power of forgiveness. May your journey towards forgiveness bring you peace, healing, and a renewed sense of possibility in your life.